So you want to take a moment at the very beginning of looking at all of these possible causes and these academic tools to reflect on what may be the cause. And this is a great reflection point, not just as a parent, but also as a student. And have your students sit down and discuss these things. And there is a worksheet attached to this. But I want you to take the time as a parent to ponder what you think may be going on, and then have your student also ponder what may be going on. And then when you sit down to really talk, you can compare and contrast them and be able to come up with a really good action plan to solve some of the problems going on for them. So first, we want to look at and ponder what's going on in the academic side. Have yourself and them describe the last semester. What classes did they take? What went well? What didn't go well? And don't just look at the grades. You also want to look at the dynamics of the classroom. You know, what was inspiring? What was more difficult? What did the teacher do that you may have liked or not liked? And why? And which teachers did you like or not like and why? And one of the things we also want to look at is teaching methodologies. For instance, if you have a student or your student is very quiet, they're probably not going to enjoy the classroom that had or consisted of a lot of drama, role playing, and interaction or collaborative interaction. Instead, they're going to want more inward kind of opportunities to reflect. And so that may be something that's really impacting them. You also want to look at the classroom dynamics. Were there too many students or too few students? Did your student get too much attention or not enough attention? Also look at the student composite of the classroom. Is there a particular student that is really annoying to you or annoying to someone else? And let me give you an example here. I have a son who has Asperger's, and he had a student in that classroom that really didn't like him. And he went out of his way to get this young man to like him. But because of that, he wasn't concentrating on what was going on in class. So we had to discuss and realize that not everybody is going to like you. We want to be able to help our students and our children to understand that sometimes the dynamics within the classroom is really going to impact how we do academically. Let's look also at those extracurriculars. What kind of time involvement is really going on? Are we doing so much music or so much sports that there isn't enough time to really do any of the other things? And look and see, when is your student doing their homework? For instance, my own child, the youngest one, performs low brass, loves it, very, very involved, and she competes on a regional level. But there are certain times in the school year when she needs to plan ahead. If she does not plan ahead, she will be up at 2 a.m. still working on homework. And that has happened occasionally. And when that happens, we need to take a step back and say, okay, is our involvement too much? Do we need to pull out of one competition or another? Is the activity too much? What is going on? Do we do homework in between practices, or are we sitting on the side of a football field struggling to get things done? Or are you sitting in a class and you're watching that your child during the break times when they're supposed to get water or whatever, that they run over and they're looking at their school books? These are indicators that they are just too involved or they don't have enough time to get everything done. And this is when we, as a parent, we need to step in and help them to prioritize. One of the things that we've done in our own home with our students who have been very involved is limiting them to 3 activities per semester. If something is going to be very intense, for instance, one of my 6 children decided they wanted to do a school play, which was wonderful, and they got one of the lead roles. It was terrific. It was very exciting for them. However, that meant that because that extracurricular was going to take so much time, that child needed to back off and only do 1 extracurricular that semester, because we need to remember that although the extracurriculars are very important, those grades really do impact their future. We also want to look at leadership positions. Are they having the opportunity to really do leadership positions? And are these extracurriculars stretching them to a point that it really adds something to their lives? Or is it just something that they cannot give up? An example, one of my children did a great job, loved ballet. However, she was really struggling in it. And it became more stressful as she got older. So we pulled her out and said, let's take 1 semester off. And as she took the rest of that semester off, she realized that she really didn't miss it. And not only did she not really miss it, it wasn't something that she particularly enjoyed. And instead, she took up something else that she loved more, which was more of a drama position. So we want to look and see how extracurriculars are impacting their academic lives and their personality. We want to look at jobs. Do they work? And what is the time commitment? And not just the time commitment, but the time scheduled. For instance, if they're going to work 10 hours a week, maybe they can handle 10 hours a week. But what if those 10 hours are between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.? That's going to impact their school life. We also want to see when they study best. If they study best right after school, but that means that they have to go to work right after school, they're not giving their best time to their academics. And so it's really impeding their study time, and it's adding additional stress to their lives. Also, ask your student, or ask yourself, if you could redo your last semester, or maybe it was your last year, or your, the beginning of high school, the beginning of school period, what would you do differently? And you're going to end up with a lot of really great ideas here. And by doing that, that's going to give you some indicators as to maybe what needs to be changed or some additional stresses that may be included in your student's life.